In the heart of Ibadan, where the sun sets in hues of orange and gold, two young souls found solace in each other. Tosin and Femi met at Command Day Secondary School, their friendship blooming like flowers after the rain. They were inseparable, their laughter echoing through the corridors, their promises whispered under the shade of the ancient almond tree. No matter what, they vowed they would end up together. But fate had other plans. Tosin came from wealth, her family steeped in affluence, while Femi's background was modest, his parents toiling endlessly to provide for him and his siblings. The disparity meant nothing to them, but to Tosin's parents, it was a glaring reality they couldn't ignore. And so, after secondary school, they sent her abroad, far from the boy she had given her heart to. Femi wrote to her, poured his love into ink-stained letters, and called tirelessly. But silence was all he received in return. Days turned to weeks, weeks to months, and eventually, years passed. The pain of her absence was a wound that refused to heal, but Femi knew he had to move forward. Determined, he applied to a federal university in Ibadan and was admitted to study accounting. He worked multiple jobs to fund his education, often skipping meals, enduring sleepless nights, pushing himself beyond limits. 5 years later, he graduated with honors. Yet, even as he held his degree, a small part of him still longed for what had been lost. Life went on. Upon completing his education, Femi went for his NYSC and was posted to an accounting firm to serve. On his first day, he stepped into the office, his heart steady, until he saw her. There, behind a grand mahogany desk, sat Tosin. The years had refined her, but her eyes, they were the same. Excited, he called out to her, expecting warmth, recognition, something, anything. Instead, she barely flinched. "Hello, Mr. Femi. Welcome to Workers and Company. Accounting firm. The human resource officer will show you to your office and provide your job description." Her voice was polished, professional, cold. Femi's breath hitched. How could she pretend? That evening, unable to let it go, he walked into her office. "Tosin, you can't pretend you don't remember me. We shared something real. We made promises." Tosin sighed, looking away. "I remember, Femi. But I was weak. My father sent me away, and I had no way to reach you. Eventually, I met someone. We married. I have a son now. I'm sorry, Femi. What we had, it's in the past." His world crumbled. He left her office and, that night, drowned in sorrow. But sorrow had never been enough to break him. The next morning, he rose, dusted himself off, and chose to move forward once again. After he completed his NYSC, he left the accounting firm and got a job with an oil company where he met Favor. Favor was kind, patient, a woman who had endured her own share of heartbreak. She was hesitant at first, but Femi promised he would never hurt her. Their love blossomed slowly, but beautifully. A year later, he proposed. She said yes, her eyes brimming with joy, and they began planning their wedding. Everything felt perfect. Until one night, the past came knocking. Femi's phone rang. On the other end, a voice he hadn't expected to hear again. Tosin. She was crying, her words trembling. Her marriage was a wreck. Her husband, Michael, once charming, had turned cruel, belittling her, cheating, making her feel worthless. "Please," she sobbed, "I just needed someone to talk to." Despite everything, Femi couldn't ignore her pain. He agreed to meet her, and as she unraveled her anguish, old emotions stirred within him. Yet, he held himself back. He was engaged. He had a future with Favor. Tosin, however, had no future in her marriage. Encouraged by friends, she filed for divorce, but Michael fought her at every turn and hiding assets, accusing her of neglecting their son. One night, Tosin received a message that shattered her world. "Let my husband go, Tosin. Michael belongs to me and our children in England. You were just his ticket to American citizenship." Attached were pictures of Michael smiling with another woman. 2 children who shared his face. Tosin's hands trembled. She had been nothing more than a means to an end. Determined, she confronted him, threatening to expose his deceit to immigration authorities. For the first time, Michael showed fear. He pleaded. But she was done. The divorce went through, and Michael disappeared, leaving her and their son behind. With her past finally behind her, Tosin reached out to Femi once more. Their conversations reignited old flames. And before long, they realized the truth: they had never really stopped loving each other. But what about Favor? The woman who had stood by Femi, believed in him, built dreams with him. He was tormented, torn between past and present. Favor noticed the change. The hesitance. The way he avoided her gaze. One evening, she confronted him. "Femi, look me in the eyes and tell me, are you still in love with Tosin?" Silence. A silence that spoke louder than any confession. Favor's breath caught in her throat. "You promised me, Femi. You said you wouldn't break my heart. I believed in you. And now, you're walking away." Femi closed his eyes, pained. "I never wanted to hurt you, Favor. I swear." But, seeing Tosin again, it changed everything. Favor's lips quivered. "So what am I? Just another detour while you waited for her to come back?" She let out a shaky breath, blinking back tears. "I won't beg you to stay, Femi. I deserve someone who chooses me without hesitation." And with that, she turned away. Femi watched as she walked out of his life. It was the hardest thing he had ever done. He reunited with Tosin, but the reunion was bittersweet. They were no longer the innocent lovers of their youth. Life had changed them, scarred them. And yet, as Femi held Tosin, a lingering doubt gnawed at him. Had he truly made the right choice? Elsewhere, Favor wiped her tears, inhaling deeply. She had lost love before, and she had survived. She would survive this too. The main lesson in this story is that love is about choices, and every choice has consequences. 1. True love is tested by time and circumstances. Tosin and Femi loved each other deeply, but life separated them. When love is genuine, it does not fade, but time and situations can change people. 2. Broken promises leave scars. Femi promised Favor he would never hurt her, yet he did. The story highlights the pain of betrayal and the importance of honoring commitments. 3. Not all love stories have happy endings. Femi and Tosin reunited, but their love was no longer pure and innocent. The past left wounds, and the choices they made carried a heavy weight. 4. Self-worth and dignity matter. Favor chose to walk away rather than beg for love. Her strength teaches that people deserve to be chosen wholeheartedly, not as second options. 5. Regret is inevitable when love is lost. Femi wants Tosin back, but the story ends with uncertainty. He wonders if he truly made the right decision. showing that love is never simple, and sometimes there are no perfect answers. If you enjoyed this story, share, like, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys.